most heartily, and I will tell you why. First of all, because of your name. Bnai Brith is the children of the covenant. As far as I know, it's the only Jewish organization in the world which has a Hebrew name, Bnai Brith.
As you look at Prime Minister David Ben Gurion of Israel speaking at Hillel House, a Bnai Brith institution at Hebrew University in Jerusalem, you are also listening to an unsynchronized tape recording of some of his remarks.
Made by Moshe. He made the covenant on behalf of the Rebbeinu Shalom with the Jewish people. And that name puts upon you a great obligation. Now we have a free, independent Jewish state. And we have a great Jewish community in the greatest and freest country in the world, in the United States of America. These two communities are on which centers the entire Jewish people. Biggest difference is that we are living only among Jews. Not only the prayer is Jewish, not only the temple or the synagogue is Jewish, but the road is Jewish, the field is Jewish, the trees are Jewish, the buildings are Jewish, the factory is Jewish, everything must be Jewish.
A person and a camera. Ever stop to think how much like a person a movie camera is? First of all, like people, before I start out, I have to be fed. I work better on a full stomach. Some people are self-starters. Others, like myself, have to get wound up before they can get going. And like you, I have two eyes. Each of my eyes is different, however. One sees the long shot, the overall scene. My other eye is the close-up lens, which penetrates the facade and reveals the essence of a people and their dreams, and bears the throbbing heart beneath. In my memory, it's much better than yours because I have a photographic memory, a permanent record of all I've seen and felt. And this is what I want you to see now through my camera eyes, the film report of a Bnai Brith mission to Israel, as I search for the essence of that new land. You watch them climb aboard the giant airliner. This is not just another plane trip. You can read it on their faces. They're beaming, their eyes aglow with a radiance that springs from deep within. No, this is far from just another vacation. This time, their destination and yours is Tel Aviv. We are going to Israel. And after pleasant hours in the air that have flown by as speedily as the miles, you see it. The flag of Israel. The flag that is Jewish, on the building that is Jewish, at the airport that is Jewish. And you catch your breath and your heart swells as you too begin to live in a small way the dream of Herzl, Weizmann, Ben Gurion. You are now in Israel. You can't wait to see the land, to see the people. You've been to many cities, to many lands, but this one is different. It is not like any place back home. It is unlike any other foreign country. It's different, and yet it is not. Somehow you feel a sense of kinship, belonging, emotions you cannot put into words. You look about you trying to embrace everything at once. The faces, the Hebrew signs, the amalgam of the ancient and the new. And you ask yourself, what is there about this land that does this to you? It must be more than the umbilical cord of history. What in truth is the essence of the land of Israel that clasps you so in its grasp? And suddenly, you can think no more, as you're engulfed in the swell of music and flags, costumes and paraders. And through your lens eyes, you watch the joyous celebration, unlike any Jewish holiday you've seen anywhere. It is Purim in Israel. Purim, the children's holiday. Masquerades, floats, and always the dancing. The exuberant dancing of a free people.
Up
They cling to the open balconies of this modern metropolis of Tel Aviv, watching the children, both young and old, the Sabra, those who were born in Israel, and the refugees from Europe and Asia, starting anew in their own land. There's an old axiom among us cameras, one that I just made up, that whenever there are enough Bnai Brith members gathered for a minyan, they start a meeting. And here, with everyone on the survey mission a Bnai Brith member, there were meetings and receptions one after another. Yitzhak Ben Zvi, president of Israel, and his charming wife, Bnai Brith members both, received members of the mission led by Meyer Halperin. Here is Eliezer Argoff of Israel Bnai Brith toasting our group at a meeting of Ba'ad L'Ma'an Chachayel, the Israel Soldier Service Committee. Its founder, Yosef Barak, addresses the gathering. You know how Bnai Brith meetings are. Everyone has his say. Next came Edith Kornblit, national president of Bnai Brith Women. Then Dr. William Wexler, Supreme Lodge vice president. So by the time Morris Alexander, chairman of the Bnai Brith Committee for Israel, got up, I had run completely out of film. Always make sure you have film in your camera before you shoot. Only then should you set out, as we did, to see the Bnai Brith created and supported institutions in Israel, such as Ramat Zvi and Moledet Bnai Brith, the 3,000-acre farming settlement nestled in the valley of Jezreel, on the land the Bnai Brith of America donated to the Jewish National Fund. Moledet is a modern community. One of its leaders, Hanan Prince, with his wife. Everybody pitches in at Moledet, just as everyone has pitched in all over Israel, learning new vocations, learning farming, animal husbandry, and other skills once thought foreign to Jews. Modern farming with modern tools, some donated by Bnai Brith, yield a more comfortable life today to these children than it did 20 years ago to their parents and the other hardy pioneers who reclaimed this land and made it blossom. These bright young children will soon be able to use the new Bet Am community house, being built with help from Bnai Brith in honor of the 20th anniversary of Moledet. Is this the essence of Israel? These young Chalutzim, pioneers, who have dug into the soil with body and soul to make Israel an example to the world of a land and a people revitalized through work and sacrifice? You ponder this as you return to your room at the Dan Hotel in Tel Aviv. Here, in an atmosphere that blends the best of the East with the finest of the West, with accommodations like so many hotels in Israel designed to attract scores of tourists, you prepare to see and savor the land of the Bible, and you recall the words of Ben Gurion.
This is the land of the Brit, of the covenant. Hebrew education and personal contact, these are the two ways of creating a permanent, a living link between us, the independent Jewish people in its own homeland, and the great Jewish community in that great free country, the United States of America.
Through your window of the King David Hotel, you see the walls of the old city of Jerusalem, spiritual capital of the world, and the towering buildings of the New Jerusalem, bustling capital of Israel, where the waves of Jewry from everywhere in the diaspora surge against one another and melt into the oneness of being a Jew. The Baha'i Temple, its gold dome shimmering in the sunlight, and its Persian gardens, dominate the city of Haifa from the summit of Mount Carmel. You see the ruins of Caesarea, once the proud eastern capital of the Caesars of Rome. Today, this is all that remains, these broken statues and a lovely stretch of seacoast. Here lived Titus, who destroyed the Second Temple and the Second Jewish Commonwealth. Someday, soon, in modern Israel, the Third Commonwealth, a new city will arise on these ruins, an Israeli city. The ancient Arab city of Acre next falls under your camera's penetrating eye. Acre, the city Napoleon couldn't conquer. The cannon are now muted as Israel beats them into plowshares. But not all the guns are stilled. Even today, the UN watches over an uneasy truce. The border settlements overlooking Arab territory show the havoc wrought by those to whom Israel extends its hand in peace. And again, you are reminded of the stirring words of Ben Gurion.
The day when we proclaimed our independence, 650,000 Jews had to stand against 30 million Arabs. And it was said already in the Torah, Tiatem Haniat Nikol Hamin. You are the few among the people. And this will remain our lot forever.
2,000 years ago, Jesus of Nazareth walked the streets of the slow-paced Arab city, modern Israel, called Nazareth. But even Nazareth is changing, growing. Arab postcards, anyone? Arabs are citizens of Israel, first-class citizens, too. Wait, these two Burnous Arabs are citizens of the United States. Bnai Brith members getting into the act. Sometimes even a camera needs a scorecard to tell the playful from the players. This time, even the airplane is Jewish. Archion, a smaller airline than the great El Al. And you board it for a short trip to the southernmost tip of Israel, to the new port of Eilat, Israel's outlet to the Red Sea. Eilat, going faster than any place in Israel, its face directed toward the east, to India, Asia, and the Orient. Yesterday, the back door of Israel. Now, after the Sinai campaign, the front door that leads to the future. There in those distant hills, the wilderness of Sinai, our past began with the burning bush, the 10 Commandments, the exodus from slavery in Egypt to freedom in the Promised Land. Bnai Brith is here too. And there, in the desert, near Eilat, is a youth camp with a swimming pool. Not quite like Palm Springs, California, but a swimming pool, nevertheless, where girls will be girls and look at boys, and vice versa. You continue your search for the uniqueness of this land as you visit the tombs of its leaders. In Israel, your pilgrimage to these graves has a special poignancy, for here are the remains of those who gave substance to the cherished dream of the Jew. Chaim Weizmann, world-renowned scientist, first president of Israel, buried at Orechavot. The tomb of Theodor Herzl, founder of modern Zionism, who, like an ancient Hebrew prophet, predicted 50 years in advance that a modern state of Israel would be born. And buried in the hallowed ground for which they fought, the men and women, those who gave the ultimate, so that the state of Israel might emerge from the land of Palestine. And you ask yourself, is this the heart of the country? Is this the essence of Israel? Its heroes? You move from the dead, whose gallantry serves as a constant inspiration, to the living. You watch the ceremonies on the parade grounds of an army camp. You thrill to the band music, played on instruments you helped provide through AMLI, the American Music Library in Israel. And again you think back to the words of Prime Minister Ben Gurion.
I know what respect Jews have gained in our war of independence in the Sinai campaign. I know that the people in America, and not only in America, have greater respect for Jews now than they had 11 years ago. Because they knew Jews are industrious, they're good bankers, they're good lawyers, they're good physicians. They thought that Jews can fight, and I'm sure that this increased the self-respect of Jews in America and the respect of non-Jews to Jewish community.
A GI is a GI anywhere, no matter what language he speaks, and general issue are the right words for the equipment he receives. The Bnai Brith Israel Committee has joined with the Israel Bnai Brith District 14 to help provide the amenities to brighten the soldier's leisure time, USO fashion. to provide a special issue for these brave and patriotic young men and women. This is known as the adoption plan of the Ba'ad Lema'an Hechayal, the Bnai Brith Israel Soldier Service Committee. Here in this Tel Aviv hostel, Chairman Meyer Halperin presents a resolution of the New York Bnai Brith Council adopting the Tel Aviv clubs and hostels. The Canadian Bnai Brith sponsors this soldiers' hostel at Eilat, and other Bnai Brith councils and lodges are following suit. The Chicago Bnai Brith Council has adopted all the day rooms and other soldiers' committee establishments at Haifa. These are soldier patients at Tel HaShomer, the largest hospital in Israel, where medical science heals soldiers and civilians alike. They receive occupational therapy at the Bnai Brith Rehabilitation Center, established in the memory of Chaim Weizmann, the Ben Brith who served as the first president of the reborn state of Israel. I got a close-up of the homesickness in a youngster's face waiting out his convalescence. Unfortunately, I could only get a long shot of the nurses, which proves again how much like a human a camera can be. Time to rest a while as I prepare to resume my quest for the essence that makes this country great. Will I find it in Haifa? Haifa, nestled on the slopes and summits of Mount Carmel, site of the nest, the miracle of the prophet Elijah, clean, ambitious, kinetic, industrial center of Israel, through which flows the constant stream of hopeful immigrants. City where the Israel Bnai Brith district maintains a lovely old folks' home. City whose mayor, Abba Hushi, gets up at dawn to make certain the street cleaners do their job. City where Israel's first subway is being drilled through the solid rock of Mount Carmel. Where does the money come from to do all this? In part from Israel bonds, invested in the millions by Bnai Brith members as loans at good interest rates to build ships like these, ships flying the Israel maritime flag, manned by Jewish sailors, unloaded by Jewish longshoremen. Funds from bonds to build hotels, drain the swamps of the Kula, stock the lakes with fish, widen and deepen the rivers, create great electric power plants, all this through the most important phase of the Bnai Brith Israel program, the sale and purchase of Israel bonds. Smoking chimneys and clouds of dust, heralds of activity. Your loans through Israel bonds help build these factories and the roads that bring the raw materials to them and take the finished products away. Your investment dollars help build pipelines and refrigerators and assemble trucks and tractors, help fly the proud airplanes, help dig for oil and water, irrigate the fields, make them fertile and verdant once again, to bring potash and phosphate from the Dead Sea. Your dollars invested through the Bnai Brith Israel Bond Program have helped build cement factories that literally take the entrails of the earth and convert them into substance for the creation of a nation. To mine copper from the hills of the Negev, where King Solomon's miners worked these ancient stones thousands of years ago. If you are an Israel bond owner, aren't you proud to know that you are playing a part in this miracle of modern industrial development? In another plant, my camera eye catches 1,000 strands of cotton snaking into the hungry machines that will convert them to thread. Yarn to be woven into fabric to clothe the limbs of an ever-increasing, ever-demanding population. You are a partner in this enterprise, for your bond dollars have helped make dreams come true in the land of Israel. Your money, not donated, but invested in projects such as this, has given hope and what is truly a new lease on life to hundreds of thousands of your fellow Jews. Your dollars make the state of Israel hum with music of frenetic activity, like the joyous whir of the shuffles of the loom. Is this the industrial upsurge of a nation? Is this the essence of the country? Is this what I've been seeking? Or is this the uncertain fingers of a child, groping, weaving, constructing not only a fabric of yarn, but the very fabric of a new life itself? For these are children disturbed by man's inhumanity to man, and worse, to children. These children, through love of Bnai Brith women, are cared for at the Bnai Brith Women of America Children's Home in Jerusalem. In this home, children are given the devoted and expert treatment and attention that will restore them to a normal and productive life, like the hundreds who have preceded them. Here, they are hosts to the survey mission, serving them mixed Israeli orange juice. There are always ceremonies, but this time the children make the speeches, as Mrs. Edith Kornbleet, Dr. William Wexler, and Morris Alexander each plant a tree on the lawn of the home. Yes, Israel is a country that is being built from the barren soil up, and there can be no shirkers. Work is the keynote as the youngsters create and build with pick and shovel. With bare hands. And after that easy work in the field, setting up exercises to make them strong. Makes a camera kind of weak, you know, just photographing them. But a visitor to Israel can't rest for long. Too much to do, too much to see. You want to capture everything within your brief visit, like the great institutes of research, training the keen minds of Israeli scholars in such centers as the Weizmann Institute of Science. As Dr. Weizmann himself said, I feel sure that science will bring to this land both peace and a renewal of its youth, creating the springs of a new spiritual and material life. Or the architectural genius of the beautiful campus on the hills of Jerusalem, this great institution of learning, Hebrew University, ranking with the major universities of the world. It is significant that David Ben Gurion chose the Hillel Foundation at this university, created and supported by Bnai Brith, to talk to the survey mission. Or the Technion at Haifa, where Carl Alford, public relations officer, an American, tells the Bnai Brith mission about this splendid technical institute and its new campus. And the lovely site where one day it is hoped, he said, a Hillel Foundation will be built. Or the Bnai Brith Library in Jerusalem, Israel's first library, established 70 years ago by the Bnai Brith of Israel when the district was founded. Bnai Brith still maintains this library where young and old carry on the scholarliness, the tradition of learning ingrained in the very being of the Jew from time immemorial. As Ben Gurion said,
we were blessed with a great spiritual heritage. We are called the people of the book. We have reason to be proud of that, because there is no book like that in the world.
My search goes on and takes me to a building with a Hebrew inscription that should be well known to every Jew throughout the world. Keren Kayemet LaYisrael, the Jewish National Fund. The JNF, whose world president, Dr. Granot, suggested in 1953 the establishment of the Bnai Brith Martyrs Forest to Morris Alexander, who was then leading a mission to develop the Bnai Brith Israel program of today. Here, this grand old man meets with Phil Katz, director, Yale Goldberg, consultant of the Israel Committee, Meyer Halperin, and others. He points out the site in the hills northeast of Jerusalem where the Bnai Brith will plant 500,000 trees to encircle the central sanctuary in its section of the Martyrs' Forest, a gift from the Bnai Brith to the Jews of the world. Here, hewn out of the rock of these eternal hills, is the sanctuary, a repository for Bnai Brith memorials, a shrine for prayer and meditation and homage, built by the Bnai Brith with the JMF. Dr. Weitz of Keren Kayemet, a pioneer of Israel, autographs a piece of rock from this hallowed ground. The forest is his dream and passion.
זכור תזכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק.
Remember and recall the 6 million Chafdoshim, the martyred of our people. Here in the biblical Judean hills, heartland of our people's past glory, the same hills that cradle the eternal city of Jerusalem, here the Yah Chafdoshim, the martyrs' forest, will rise for Jews everywhere to remember and recall. 6 million living trees will flower in memory of our 6 million dead, and we reverently paraphrase the psalmist's admonition, ever to cherish Jerusalem, and vow, if I forget thee, O 6 million sacred brethren, may my right hand wither and my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. And we vow to rebuild this forest that will guard Yerushalayim Ir Hakadosh, Jerusalem, the holy city, to give new life to the land, to remold the shattered lives of the remnants of our people with meaningful work, to remember and recall. Tiny trees, planted with hands that lovingly caress the soil of Israel, bred man. Meyer Halperin and his wife. Bill Katz, so many of his family lost in Europe. His tears provide his tree their first precious drops of moisture. It's a basket. The air rings to the shouts of play as agile feet pound across the court. Your eye is shocked. Your ear is stunned at the clashing juxtaposition of the heart-rending El Mole Rakamim to the shrill, happy voices of youth. But your camera's eye is not offended. It absorbs and understands. The dead, they are to be loved and cherished and remembered in their goodness, in their martyrdom. But the future, the striving of mankind for a better tomorrow, this must be ever present if mankind, if Jewry is to survive. And this is here, as youth gives to youth. As the Bnai Brith Youth Organization, the AZA provides a place of recreation for the children of Israel. And suddenly, you know your search is over. You have found it, the secret, the essence, the tie that binds you to this land of Israel. It is the children, the beautiful, strong, healthy children, well-fed, well-clothed, a new breed of Jew, the Sabra, proud, skilled, safe, confident, unafraid. May they grow up in peace to fulfill the destiny of their forefathers, our forefathers, in the old, new land of our people, as they once again make the land flow with milk and honey.
To give my warm regards to my friend Spielberg, and I will say to you both Shalom, this you certainly know, and I will say to you Lehitraot, which I'm not sure that you all know, but you know already. All right then, Shalom and Lehitraot.
Yes, we do know what Lehitraot means, Mr. Prime Minister. It means until we see you again, and you will see us again, and again, and again. Because under the inspired leadership of men like Philip Klutznick and the late Henry Monsky, we of Bnai Brith have come to the realization that our destiny and the destiny of all Jewry is inexorably intertwined with Israel and the Israelis. And we do acknowledge this destiny through the Bnai Brith program for Israel, which gives practical and dynamic evidence of our acceptance of this basic truth, that the future of Israel and the future of Jewry is one, and as one will be a glorious contribution to the progress of mankind. This, too, is the essence of Israel.